We pick up from the point where the god of death, Zoe, threatens Lai to stay away from Mayan. The funny part though is that Zoe refers to Lai as a little boy, which he finds rather confusing. However, after this hilarious moment, Lai quickly figures out that Zoe is indeed the same boy he had seen earlier who had saved his darling Mayan from the goons. He points this out to the god of death, who proudly acknowledges this fact. Zoe quickly switches to a moralistic tone as he tells Lai to focus on his studies, rather than on a pretty girl who will do him no good. This is somewhat similar to what a father would say to his son, so Lai decides to clear things out with Zoe. He confirms that he didn't get hurt because of Mayan, but rather because he wasn't strong enough to protect her from the savages who attacked them. This also makes Lai a little emotional, but then Zoe decides to make things interesting. He tells Lai that it was indeed Mayan who had caused him harm, but the bandaged hero stands his ground and gives him a poker face. This clearly upsets the god of death, so he laments that Lai will not listen to him, regardless of his reasoning. Zoe proceeds to walk away, but Lai is intrigued now, so he wants answers. He calls out to Zoe, hoping for a more detailed conversation, but the god of death only says that he's given him a fair warning. Now, we shift to school, where a bunch of girls are gossiping about Lai and Mayan. They say that Lai was caught waiting outside Mayan's classroom the previous day, and it stirs up a few giggles. The girls are confused by Lai's behavior because he's already been rejected once, so it makes no sense for him to keep trying with Mayan. The girls even worry for Lai because they feel he's only setting himself up for heartbreak if he continues like this. However, it seems that they have other intentions for Lai, as they would prefer him to chase after them instead. Now, we see Mayan, who has her head on her desk, probably because she isn't bothered by idle chit-chat. With her is Zoe, who tries to call out to her but with no luck. Mayan's lack of responsiveness takes him by surprise, so he asks her why she's behaving this way. Mayan continues to ignore Zoe, and even he gets upset like a little baby. The god of death is not here for fun and games, so he loses his patience and checks up on Mayan, who is revealed to be listening to songs on her earphones. Zoe decides to check out her musical taste, although she doesn't seem too keen on it. An awkward silence follows, after which Zoe points out that there is no sound coming from the earphones. He asks Mayan why this is the case, but she simply snatches back the earphone and tells him not to do such a thing ever again. She cutely puts them back into her ears, but Zoe has realized that she's only trying to ignore the noise around her. He doesn't let Mayan off the hook and reminds her what everyone is gossiping about. We see another random girl talking about how loner girls attract the most handsome boys, and then Zoe decides to grill Mayan some more. He tries to get her to say that she's not interested in getting involved with Lai, primarily because a human meddling with their mission will only prove to be a major hindrance. Mayan is in two minds about this, so she tells Zoe that she's already tried her best to keep Lai away from her. However, before she can continue her conversation any further, a gush of wind fills up the room, as well the school. We then see Lai, who is carrying a pile of papers which need to be delivered to his teacher. Unfortunately, the wind has blown some of the sheets away, and there also happens to be dirty water on the floor, which ends up soiling them. As expected, this is bad news for Lai, and he curses his luck even as he is surrounded by multiple women who want to help him out. One of the students says that there's supposed to be an easterly wind in effect today, and then Lai thinks back to how his day has progressed so far. First of all, he ran into a street lamp in the morning, after which he ate an eggshell during breakfast. If that wasn't bad enough, a teacher threw his chalk at Lai in class, but he inexplicably claimed that it slipped from his hand. To make matters worse, Lai also lost his PE uniform from the locker room and got scolded as a result of that. It's pretty much like a series of unfortunate events which have now continued, with the wind blowing away the paper sheets and making Lai's life that much more difficult. As he laments his luck, Mayan takes a look at him and we can see empathy in her beautiful eyes. Zoe also takes note of this, so he says that the wind is quite strong today. However, there's an evil smirk on his face, which suggests that he has something to do with it and all the other accidents Lai has faced today. Now, we shift to Mayan, who is cleaning up a door with another one of her friends. The both of them realize that they need to finish their task before the teacher arrives, so they divide their tasks evenly so that they can cover more surface area. While this continues, we see Lai, who is trying to figure out what's gone wrong with his luck. He considers the possibility that Mercury might be in reverse, which is a rather absurd assumption. However, Lai can't afford to take any chances with his rotten luck, so he figures he should get a koi to turn the tables. Now, our hero gets distracted when he sees a girl getting ready to prank Mayan. She plans to throw a bucket of water onto her while she wipes the door, which Lai doesn't find amusing. He tries to call out to Mayan, but it's too late as the water gets splashed upon her and she becomes a wet mess. Lai is visibly concerned to see Mayan like this, so he rushes to her and we can also see that his probability of death is at 0. Our hero tries to extend a helping hand to his crush, but she doesn't want to stir any further drama, so she tries to move away from him. By doing this, Mayan slips and falls to the floor, resulting in a somewhat compromised position, yet exceedingly innocent expression. She looks rather worried and thinks about what to do because all her clothes have gotten wet now. It's an uncomfortable situation for Mayan, but Lai comes to the rescue like her knight in shining armor. He gives Mayan his extra shirt, which should be good enough to keep her covered and warm. This strikes a chord with Mayan, and Lai extends his courtesy by stating he's not going to touch her. However, he still maintains that she should stop hiding from him, because he is a lover boy, after all. He asks Mayan not to hurt herself, and his words resonate strongly with her feelings. Mayan maintains a sweet, innocent demeanor as she gets up and slowly approaches Lai. This takes our hero by surprise, so he clarifies that he wasn't trying to hint at anything. Lai's nervousness gets the better of him as he slightly retreats from Mayan, but eventually remembers his masculinity is at stake, so he says he simply wants to chat with her. This leads to a rather cute moment between the couple, and Lai says that Mayan can return his shirt later. Of course, he doesn't want to overstep his boundaries, so he decides to take off, but Mayan feels a strong urge to say something. Soon enough, she calls out to Lai and thanks him for his help, which catches us off guard. Lai turns back to see a smiling Mayan, which is a rare sight given her timid nature. Her sweet face makes Lai smile as well, and he contains all the excitement building inside him by simply saying it's fine. Later, we see Mayan, who has now changed and also cleaned and ironed Lai's shirt for him. She is feeling shy as she considers putting the clothes on Lai's desk, but then Zoe shows up and has a menacing look on his face, most definitely a manifestation of his jealousy. He refers to Lai as a punk and confirms that Mayan is carrying his shirt. The god of death proceeds to snatch the shirt away from Mayan, much to her displeasure because she's already warned him against such rude behavior. Zoe doesn't care and says that he'll return the shirt to Lai, but he undoes all the hard work Mayan put in to iron them. We now shift to a session of basketball practice which tires out Lai. However, he soon notices an ominous presence behind him, which is none other than Zoe. He is confused at first to see the god of death, but quickly spots the shirt in his arms. Our hero takes his shirt back, and then Zoe comments on his bad luck once again. This statement confuses Lai, but then Zoe reminds him about what he said regarding Mayan. The god of death maintains that she is nothing but bad luck, and Lai needs to stay away from her if he wants to avoid any trouble. Of course, this is just another desperate attempt to have Mayan all to himself, but Zoe gets a bit of a shock when Lai openly refuses his request. The god of death is puzzled and infuriated at the same time, so he asks Lai for a reason. Zoe thinks that Lai wants to be friends with Mayan, but then our hero gives him something even more dramatic. This is when he asks Zoe what he would say if he said he liked Mayan. This is a huge shock for Zoe, but he maintains a look of arrogance which annoys Lai. He also wants to know why he was called a little boy earlier, and asks if Zoe is a lot older than him. We all know that Zoe is over 52 years old, but it's not like he can expose his identity to Lai. Our hero wants answers, so he grabs Zoe's arm and asks him why he's so interested in Mayan. He also wants to know if she had sent him here to return the shirt, but the god of death answers to no one, so he uses his powers to smack a basketball against Lai's head. This causes him to pass out, but before that, he manages to hear Zoe mention how their bodies are different. None of this makes any sense to our hero, and he gets sent to the infirmary soon after. Mayan shows up asking about Lai, and is told that he's received a new injury on top of his existing one, so he'll be in discomfort for a while. The important thing is that he's fine, so Mayan breathes a sigh of relief. She then sits beside Lai and becomes emotional because she doesn't want him to hurt himself because of her. It's a rather touching scene, but it gets ruined when the jealous Zoe sneaks up from behind and peeps on his target. Later at night, he asks Mayan why she's been gloomy all day, but she calls him out for hurting Lai. Zoe is confused because he thought that Mayan wanted Lai to stay away from her, but she clarifies that she doesn't want her lover boy to get hurt because of her. Zoe is still unable to understand Mayan's emotions, so she tells him it isn't any different for Lai to stay away from her if he still ends up getting hurt. Zoe loses his patience and decides to flex his powers in front of Mayan. He states that he is a grim reaper, rather a god of death, and he will do as he pleases, when he pleases. The rage slowly builds up within Zoe as he unleashes a demonic flare, and it puts Mayan in a rather dangerous spot. What's going to happen next? Will Mayan be able to calm down the Grim Reaper? Like, share, and subscribe to find out in the next video. See you soon.